Okay, here we go. We're going to talk about Carol. Carol, the CEO of UPS. I did a little research on her background, her experience, her net worth. And you know what? She seems like a good leader. She's proven, man. So I don't know how you're going to mess with them and their strategy over the next 3 years. So as I'm taking my walk, I just want to let you know that I believe her name is Tomé, Carol Tomé. So I looked up the board of directors first. There's 13 board of directors at UPS. 5 are women. Carol is the leader. Carol's background is finance. She's been chief financial officer at Home Depot. After a 25-year tenure, she retired. She was bored, I believe it was 2019, and she was on the board at UPS since 2003. So as she retired, she must have really maxed out. She's got a high net worth, of course. Sounds like she's married, and she might have adopted some children, according to Google. So in the meantime, I'm starting to think about the leadership, and why is everybody so pissed off at her? You know, because I think she's got the qualifications. She's got the qualifications to lead this UPS in this transition. And she was at 2003, and then she became the CEO of UPS after she retired from Home Depot. Believe me, with big bucks. And I think she took on the challenge in 2020. She became the CEO. So she's had a 5-year gig, and she's experienced some great growth there. So that's the reason why she's buying at $85 a share, when she's seen some tremendous growth and she benefited from that. And so now with the downsizing of Amazon, I understand it, because I was part of 3M when 3M downsized from 3M to iMation. And when they downsized iMation, they call it a spinoff. When they spun that off, it was like $3-4 billion back in the day. And I was there and I saw it, and I saw how the people reacted. And they also got a buyout or severance pay. They had options, or you stay. Well, some people were happy, some weren't. And the biggest reason why people are hesitant is because of their fear of the culture. Culture is a big thing, because if you're a long-term employee of UPS, a long-term driver, you know, they had hopes of being millionaires and being there for life. Well, times change, man. And what Carol's trying to do, Carol CEO, I like that, Carol CEO. Carol is cutting the costs tremendously, and they're focused on only profitable business. So if that means cut back the costs, the people, the attrition, severance pay, buyouts, cutbacks, they don't give a fuck about the Teamsters. This is all about profit, man. Okay? So even though they might not have the revenue of the 80 to 90 billion a year, even if it's 70, but you could have more profit. And that's one of the reasons why they're still offering a 7% dividend to the shareholders. And those 13 board members, these are smart people, man. They're running other companies. You can look them up. I know IBM is one of them, and you know, you look up, just go Google and say board of directors for UPS. You're going to see some really sharp people. And most of them are what? They're business leaders with financial backgrounds. This is all about finance, man. Don't take it personal. Don't take it personal. So, if I were in that position, I'm just saying, because some people respond to my YouTubes and all that and say, Rock, you're a piece of shit and you don't know what you're talking about. These are actual people that are so loyal and so committed to their past in their community. I've seen that. I know friends of mine that were at companies for 33 years. In the meantime, They were a public company, and they ended up selling to a private equity group. And he would take the blunt of the cutbacks, the cut and pay, the what's the other thing? No benefits. And they were a public company, and the leadership was selected, and they were not only incompetent, or they were incompetent. They weren't skilled. They didn't know how to build a business. And a lot of these guys at the upper echelon, it's all about their contracts. They call them golden parachutes. So in the meantime, you have to start looking at this. So going back to what I'm thinking. If I was there, I looked at my personal at UPS. And I'm a long-term employee. And I get all the benefits. I get great pay. I get all this stuff. Okay? I would be looking at what would it take if I left. First of all, what is the offer? And how does that compare to my income, my revenue? You have to look at that and say, okay, because the UPS strategy is another 2 years. They started in 2024. 2025, they got 2026 because Amazon will be completely out in 2026. Then they're into 2027. So they got a 3-year game plan. Now, will Carol be there? Carol CEO for this? Damn right she's going to be. She's 68. 68 is, in a way, prime. And that's the reason why she's investing another $1 million on the day that people were offered to take it. Now, everybody said, oh, nobody's taking it in my hub. Nobody's taking it. How do you know? Nobody knows. They've already cut back, 75 facilities? Nobody bitched about that, did they? And they're going to consolidate? No, they're going to make changes, man. They're counting on this. And it's not over. Now they extended it. It's like Trump extending the tariffs to China. I mean, there's always compromise. And what are the Teamsters doing? They're trying to figure out how can they stop this Titanic. They can't. They can't. And these leaders and this board of directors and this management, they have a mission. And that mission is to cut, and raise the profit. Raise the profit. Not the revenue. The profit. That's the reason why they're offering a 7% dividend, because they know they already got that. Because if you look at their numbers, they're still growing with profit. Now, they got the fear of God in all these employees. But going back to what you, as a long-term employee, you have to start looking at your personal situation. Just like UPS is looking at. How much, they're going to say, well, I'm trying to think here. How much debt do you have? How much do you have discretionary dollars? Do you have a game plan if you took the deal? Could you work somewhere else? You have to look at all that. Look at your age. You know in a year or two, the same thing's going to happen. Especially for young. Even if it's more. How much more is it going to be? 10%? 20%? What if you took the money, took the buyout, and hopefully you had a few bucks, you reinvest in the UPS? Because it's only going to go up. I'm talking about the shares. And if you're in a retirement stage, you're still going to get benefits. You might have a career somewhere else that you might even enjoy more, or do something that is more of a purpose for you. So there's a lot of options. That's what I'm trying to say. There's a lot of options that you could look at.